your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to... Where's Shane?
It's never not funny. It's never not
No,
funny.
anyway, we're doing Mission Impossible, The Final Reckoning. Shane was sick. He could not be here. Breck was kind enough to fill in. We just saw it in IMAX the day before recording this.
The beautiful, glorious format of IMAX.
The beautiful, glorious format that is IMAX.
And Dolby Sound.
I just need to take a moment to say this is the first time I've been on this particular podcast where my hands are free. So if I'm just like standing here like this, like kind of just like what I do with my hands. You know what I'm talking about when I say that?
No.
It's from Talladega Nights. It's a very stupid, funny movie.
I've never seen Talladega Nights.
We'll watch it sometime.
Is that when she's like, "Hey driver, drive these"?
I don't. Probably.
Him?
It's been a while since I've seen it. It's where he gets stabbed in the leg and they try to cut out the knife with another knife. it's the dinner scene where they're praying and he's like, "Sweet 8-pound, 6 ounce baby Jesus."
Okay, yeah.
It's that movie.
Okay.
It has nothing to do with Mission Impossible. None of those people are in that movie.
Will Ferrell Mission Impossible movie win?
I would watch it. I'm going to be honest with you.
We would watch any of them. That's
true. But yeah, so we saw The Final Reckoning. Is it actually the final movie in the franchise? Only time will tell.
I'm rooting for, is it Palm Clementif? Is that how you say
Clementif.
I'm rooting for her to inherit the franchise and be cool and awesome. And because apparently she does all her own stunts.
Yeah, so am I. They didn't give her I had read that she was great, and I do think she's great in this movie. They did not give her the amount of things that I thought they would give her based on how much people were like praising her.
Yeah, based on how much people were talking about her.
Yeah.
There were some characters that clearly had nothing to do in this movie that you're like, well, you tried.
Yeah, they committed really hard to a specific character that we'll talk about when we get into spoilers. First, I think, we always talk about where we are at with the Mission movies, but I want to take it a step further for you because I am an action movie connoisseur. I watch action movies all the time. I watch good ones. I watch bad ones. I just love action movies. What is your relationship with action? And then what are the types of action movies that you do like, or I should say especially like, the ones that you really like, vibe with and just think are really good movies?
I would not say that action is my favorite genre. No tea, no shade. Like, I think it's a very important genre to our overall like cinematic story. Like, the action adventure movie is one of our oldest genres of story, period. But I just never grew up with parents who like loved action movies and like showed them to me. Like,
that is true.
So I grew up not particularly caring about them, like not really giving a lot of them a chance. But
this is Breck. This is my fiance.
Oh,
she's been on the podcast multiple times, but this is just for
new
people.
This is our first
for
time in
these chairs. For people who watched
chairs.
just last week's episode and then this one and are wondering why there's a different co-host.
I just fill in.
She fills
with
in
my cute face every now and then.
So a very cute face.
Thank you.
Anyway, continue. Sorry to interrupt.
No, you're good. So I basically, it took me a long time to like really start getting into action movies. I don't think I really sat down and tried to absorb them until college. Mm-hmm. And the one that really kicked me off actually was my best friend Gray, shout out Gray, showing me Mad Max Fury Road, the best movie of all time.
Correct.
Like, I
legitimately,
which is
very argument. There's a very strong argument that it is the best action movie ever made. There's a very strong argument it's in the top like 50 movies ever. And period.
I would make that argument.
Yeah.
I would scream till I'm blue in the face about how that's one of the best movies ever.
Feminist masterpiece.
Yes,
Mad Max Fury Road.
More important than ever, feminist masterpiece. Mad Max Fury Road.
So true.
Rewatching that in the theater in January this year, I was like,
wild, baffling, crazy, scary.
Anyways, it's great, and it also sucks that that's the first action movie that I like watched with a movie brain, as I say, because I didn't really start getting into movies until like 2017, 2018. Like, I think everyone has their favorite movies in high school, but I didn't start trying to like curate the movies I watched and like think about them in an intellectual way until like that time, and then that kind of ruins every other action movie for you. That would be
a little bit. That would be a very fun like mini-sode, maybe not even mini-sode, maybe just a full episode of here are the most influential movies at various points in my life. So like you just do childhood, then you do like going into high school, the batch of high school movies, the college movies, and then the most recent movie that like really
that's a good idea.
You think affected you. I think that'd be very fun.
That'd be a very fun idea.
Anyway,
mark it down.
But yeah, so you watch that and then you move into, you start appreciating them? Do you seek them out at all?
I don't know that I necessarily seek them out unless they're from a director I know I really enjoy, because there are not a vast majority. I won't say that. I don't want to sound like a hater, but there are a lot of action movies where I can feel myself tuning out at a certain point, and there are only a few directors where I'm like locked in.
Yeah.
And that's really just George Miller and Chris McHugh and a couple other people that I genuinely trust to be like, and you're taking me somewhere.
Then what are your like, what haven't you seen? What are some like really standard? Because we did a while ago, we did like Action April. We love a programmed month in this household. We love it.
We are big on programs.
Also, welcome to a sneak peek at a future podcast's backdrop.
You can really tell what the podcast is about to be about.
Yeah, we figured it would be good to test this.
Yeah, we're getting all sorts of stuff in here tonight.
Anyway, what are some of the ones you haven't seen? Because that month we had a huge list of ones for me to show you.
Yes.
And we only really got through the 2 Terminator movies, Predator and Prey. And then First
Rambo.
Blood, we watched First Blood.
Mm-hmm. Which I forget is called First Blood. Sorry.
I'm trying to think if there's anything else that we watched.
I think that might have been it.
Yeah, that might have been it. We had a bunch of others on there, but like I know like John Wick is the next one that I really
John Wick is the
take
next
you down
one that
rabbit
I
hole.
feel certain I will enjoy.
Yeah.
Because how can you not enjoy
The craft.
Keanu Reeves?
You know what I mean? It's like you're watching a guy dedicate himself so thorough, which to me, in my opinion, is the thing that makes action movies great.
Agree.
Is like if you get an action movie that has a great story, that's like that takes it from a really good fun movie to a great movie. But when you get an action movie that the story's kind of lacking, you know, it's like it can be okay because the craft is so good.
Agree.
You know what I mean? It's like I'll never sit here and tell you John Wick is a hard stop great movie. What I will tell you is John Wick is incredibly compelling, and John Wick's craft is the best of the bunch. Literally, in the way that Spider-Verse changed animation, John Wick changed modern action. People are way more inclined to really care about it now. So, like to me, that's the thing. That's what I love about like watching. Like Police Story I watched really recently. You're watching Jackie Chan do things that I never even conceived of a human being doing with their body.
Yeah.
I love that. That's to me the staple of like action cinema is like watching something you've never conceived of be done by a real human being.
They're very this is kind of a silly joke, but they're kind of like if we still had gladiator matches, but it was for movies.
Yeah.
Like you're sitting there and you're like, yeah, do a flip.
Yeah.
Again.
Yeah.
But I very much appreciate the craft. I think I got caught with a couple of stinkers before I really like found the great action movies. And you know, that's how it is with any genre. Like I'm sure there are people who watched a couple of stinker horror movies and then were like, I'm never watching a horror movie again. They're so stupid.
Yeah, it's like when you watch at a party in the background like the 4th movie in the Halloween franchise, your inclination is not to go back and watch the rest of them.
Yeah, your inclination.
You're just like, what?
And you're like, no, Halloween's great, guys.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's basically kind of where I'm at with it now. But I really want to be able to be more well versed in it. I really want to be, I want to be an educated cinephile.
And you do really enjoy the mission movies.
I do. I love the mission movies.
We're coming into this one. Were you ready to trust Ethan one last time?
He could ask me to trust him 500 more times, and I would be like, yes, sir, right away.
Yeah.
I will be there.
This movie has come out, and it has come out to some level of mixed reception. And I understand every criticism. It's a weird one to discuss on this podcast because a lot of and we'll talk about lessons later, but a lot of my lessons are things not to do.
Yeah.
And I don't love that. I usually try to find the good things in movies. It's my firm belief the only way to make good movies is to learn the things that other movies do right and then base what, take the good lessons, not take the like, well, this didn't work.
Yeah.
That doesn't help. Look, it is beneficial to understand how things don't work, but man, we walked out of this movie
a buzz.
Like we were hyped. And it's the only movie I can think of that has a really bad, at least recently, that has a really bad first hour that I walked out of like, man, cinema, right? Like that first hour is rough. We went and saw it with a huge group, and one of the people in that group was like, the beginning was kind of like Threat Level Midnight, and which is from The Office, and unbelievably true. It is so much like Threat Level. It's like Threat Level Midnight if it had $100 million or $400 million budget, I guess, which is crazy.
Was
we'll
it
talk
at
about that
$400 million now?
Yeah, it's a $400 million budget. It's crazy. We'll talk about that and why that's kind of a crazy thing to do. But yes, the beginning of this movie's bad.
Yeah.
Did you have a hard time locking back in when it got to the sections that were like, okay, this is Mission Impossible again?
I don't know that I had a hard time. It was more like it was a lesser type of action movie for a little bit.
Yeah.
Because it was also not like, it was funny, but it was funny and
trying to play with humor in weird ways.
And like there's like a couple funny jokes in there, like when like he's like battling the guy off screen and Haley Atwell's watching. Like that's funny because
but it goes on for so long.
It goes on for way too long. Like it was a lesser movie for a little bit.
Well, and I think it's a lesser movie because it gives into so many of the like problems with these franchise movies.
Agree.
Where it's literally there's entire segments of the entirety of the first half that are just like montage flashing of all the things Ethan's done, which like don't get me wrong, that would have been great marketing for this movie. That would have been a great way to market this movie. But man, they show a lot, like the shot from the first one of the knife falling, they show like 5 times.
And you're like, we get it.
It's like, I have seen it. I'm good. Let's move on.
I watched the film.
Yeah, I've seen Mission Impossible. That was the part that I genuinely, there was a few times where I was like, I've seen, it got so bad that there was a literal, and I can't, this is the problem with this first hour. I can't fathom some of these decisions. The decision when like, we'll get into some spoilers, Luther is disabling a bomb, but in an earlier scene, a guy comes in, Gabriel, the villain, and he takes the poison pill is what they call it, which is the data that will kill the entity. And I'm laughing about it because it's crazy, but he takes it and he goes, tell Ethan I'll see him soon. And then literally 3 to 5 minutes later, they're talking and they show that shot again.
Yeah.
As if it's a flashback, like as if we're at the end of the movie and we would have forgotten.
And you're like, I was just there.
I was literally there 3 minutes ago. There's stuff like that littered through the first hour of this movie that is just crazy.
Yeah, it's what did I see someone say it was? They were like, oh, it's very much an Avengers like.
Yes, it like
it's all led up to this.
It gives into that impulse, like the worst impulse of franchise filmmaking that I can't fathom. I do not understand. I don't.
Yeah.
What point did you lock in on it though?
For me, probably. I locked in a little earlier than you, I think.
Maybe. I mean, there's a point when I am like kind of engaged more. Like I was more willing.
I mean, honestly, when Angela Bassett showed up, because I just like Angela Bassett.
Yes.
I just think she commands any room she's in. So, but honestly, I say that, but it's pretty much probably the briefing when they're like.
Okay, see, the briefing is when it started getting me back.
Yeah.
Because right before that,
you gave him an
aircraft carrier. One of the best lines in this movie. My issue comes very much from the fact that's like, why was the Briggs, that character, the guy hunting him, the guy that hates Ethan?
Yeah.
Why did he tie back to being
John Voight's son?
Yeah, you're like, that was the most baffling decision because that aspect of it does not matter at all.
And it doesn't really come up again.
Doesn't come up.
They just were like,
they do hit the Brokeback Mountain poster literally at the end of the movie, and it's crazy. That part of this movie does not work.
No,
it's like they do some of those like for Tom Cruise and Christopher McQuarrie, who are usually really great at that type of thing paying homage and being respectful of, but not, like if you look at their movies, they take a lot of like cinema. Like there's certain points where Tom Cruise is wearing suits from famous movies.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he's wearing very similar styled and colored suits from various like Alfred Hitchcock movies, and that's the type of stuff that they do.
Can you imagine if Tom Cruise was in an Alfred Hitchcock movie?
We're going to talk about some of the craziness about Tom Cruise and the lineup of directors he's worked with.
Yeah. Anyways, sorry.
So that's the part that doesn't work. When we get to that briefing, I'm much more engaged because that is when Mission does the thing Mission does best, which is just getting a bunch of really great guys to come in and deliver expository dialogue in 100% committed way. I mean, we have Nick Offerman, what's his name?
Holt McCallany,
Angela Bassett.
Mindhunter season 3, please.
I know, Mindhunter season 3, justice for Mindhunter. But yeah, we have these actors that come in and do this like expository dialogue in great, fantastic ways that I love, and it's part of mission.
Yeah.
That's when it starts locking in. Let's just get the negatives out of the way.
Gassed a security briefing?
That was 2 months ago. It's fantastic. Stuff like that is where this movie really sings. The end. I want to talk about the Nick Offerman thing, then we'll get into the really positives of this movie, of which there are many positives.
I was sitting there and I thought they were going to show us like his bullet wound, and I realized that like
it's just there.
And you're like,
it's just in the middle of his medals, his like rank, whatever they call that.
Which is where I didn't even like look.
Yeah, and he just kind of goes like, I kid you not, this is how he does. He just goes.
You know how you die that fast from a bullet wound?
It's baffling.
It's not even over his heart.
I know, but that whole scene, and like a lot of the stuff with Angela Bassett doesn't work, where she's like looking at the picture of her son. I don't know what the decision making was. I genuinely, to me, it got in the way of the movie, especially that segment, because it kept cutting away from what I can't stress enough is the craziest stunt I have ever seen depicted in a movie.
Genuinely.
Like breathtaking stuff is going on, and they keep cutting to this thing that I don't really care about. Like,
and you're like, go back to the plane.
Yeah. So, okay, let's talk about, we'll come back. I'm sure we'll find some other stuff that we don't love, but we'll come back to it. Let's discuss the good of this movie. And the good starts, for me, hard stop starts. It starts getting better when they get to the briefing and Angela Bassett is giving this great dialogue, whatever, committing to that stuff. It gets great to me when he gets on the aircraft carrier and they give the great line, you gave him an aircraft carrier. And it's him with Hannah Waddingham having this fun little scene. And then he flies out and jumps into the water to get into a submarine. Mission
it's him
Impossible.
Just turning and going,
like, yeah, literally just running out and not saying anything. Awesome. So Ethan Hunt. So great.
So good.
It's the stuff Tom Cruise is best at as an actor, of that like pathologicalness of him. He's like, well, I'm going to die, I guess, or they're going to save
myself.
me. Yeah. Hold my beer. The thing that I really like love from that point on is we get, what is his name? Mr. Milchek. Tremel Tillman, who shows up and just, it says Mr. about 1,000 times, and I love every second of it. Put him in more movies, and as always, in true Severance fashion, he has that shit on. Katie O'Brien showing up and just kind of like serving, you know?
So hot.
It's pretty crazy how much she serves in this movie for how little she's given to. But that whole sequence where they're like setting up what he has to do and the mission, and that's where
when Katie O'Brien is like, come back with my suit, and you're like, Katie?
And he does not.
He does not. That suit is at the bottom.
Literally
of
cuts.
The Bering Sea.
That is such a ridiculous Mission Impossible thing, where he cuts off the suit at the bottom of the ocean in a submarine and swims up to the top and is fine.
And he's freezing cold.
And he's just fine. It's like, it's legitimately crazy.
Anyone who tries to apply real life logic to these movies, don't worry about it.
Like that. Yeah, literally, I was gonna say it's just I don't care.
They do enough to cover some bases that you should just accept it.
They're like theoretical gases in his body made him survive. Whatever, who cares? But like that segment, how did you feel about the sub sequence?
I was incredibly tense. I have a very big lifelong fear of drowning. So anything like that where it's under, because they have a similar one. I forget which one is it.
Rogue Nation. Rogue Nation is the other water.
That also
sequence.
made me. Those are two of the most like tense feelings I've had during the whole franchise, because I'm sitting here like, oh my god, I don't want to do that. Like, and it was like, and then things are like, I love that the climax of that scene isn't him unlocking the thing and getting it. It's him having to get out.
Yes. Oh, the claustrophobia you feel,
and like having like the or I guess missiles or torpedoes or whatever.
The torpedoes falling on
falling on the doors and then falling on him.
Has to go out a torpedo too.
And and the water constantly. There's that shot where I think you and I both like quietly gasped or grabbed each other when it's moving and the water is horizontal.
Sub starts to turn, but the camera's fixed, and so it looks like the water's like just moving to the side of the screen. Unbelievable.
Incredible.
But the thing we need to talk about is before he gets out into the water, when he's turning the thing in the aspect ratio. If you see it in IMAX, when he turns the valve to unlock the sub so he can get out, or flood the tank so he can get out. As he's turning the valve, each time he turns it, the aspect ratio gets bigger, and then it's just so IMAX for so long.
And IMAX aspect ratio changes like a brother.
IMAX aspect ratio hits like so hard. It
hit in Sinners. It hit in this. We're seeing a return of people understanding the importance of IMAX.
Well, because then there's
go check out the Sinners episode if you haven't.
Yes. Oh, hey, way to plug, baby. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I'm so good at it.
But yeah, so there's this like unbelievable tense sequence done really, really practically. Obviously, they're not dropping real torpedoes on Tom Cruise.
What?
Well, I know, crazy. But
I would thought that was in his contract.
you say that, but I would believe it. Like,
I mean, he was crazy enough to get his own insurance company. I believe that he'd be like, yeah, drop it.
Man's a lunatic. In so many ways. We'll talk about it. But does this sequence, gets out, gets to the top. That shot of him, like where it like turns and it looks like he's falling onto the ground. Unbelievable. This movie has both great transitions and terrible transitions. They do a lot of these like quick circle things where I'm like,
it was very like, I had the thought of like Star Wars New Hope, where I was like, what
feels
am
like
I
Star
doing?
Wars. Feels like they were like, well, what if we
this?
do this and it didn't work? So they just did it really quick and I don't know, baffling stuff. But like
Strange.
the transitions that work are like when Haley Atwell like swims up, which I don't think she really did. Maybe that's in his head or whatever. I don't know.
I got that.
But, like,
I felt like that was in his
kisses
head.
him, seemingly blowing air in his mouth, and then they like turn and transition, and it's great, fantastic transition. There's a couple of those in this movie that really work, and then a bunch that are like baffling and crazy.
Yeah,
and weird.
like there's a transition where it's like the water is rising and like the falling in the decompression tank in the submarine, and like that was cool, and everything with the submarines.
Yeah,
A plus
with the
Tremel Tillman being like, hey, if you want to poke the bear, you came to the right man.
You came to the right place, mister.
And you're like,
he keeps calling him mister, and it's awesome.
I like that he's just kind of an enigma that showed up on their submarine.
I know. it's so good. The underwear fight is also really great. Like legitimately filmmaking
we hardly
wise.
ever get to see Ethan like fight like that.
Yeah, especially in these last couple. Like it's very they've done very different things. But that fight where it's like he's in his underwear, he's vulnerable. It has a bunch of like action beats that I thought were really cool. Really good grappling and reversals.
Oh,
like,
yeah, when he like shoves the guy's face into the treadmill.
Great. And then whenever they cut the like line so steam's coming, awesome. It looks like so good.
It's very tactile.
Yes, it's really a fantastic fight. Was there a plot reason why Tom Cruise needed to be in his underwear? No, but why are we complaining? It's awesome. Like, anyway, that sequence. How did you feel about Gabriel as a villain? Given that there are some debate about how good the villains are in Mission Impossible.
There have definitely been better villains.
Yeah, I think so. I think Gabriel, I think they had a plan. That plan got adjusted, and they had to do what they had to do.
Because he shows up. He's gone for most of the movie. Like
he's gone for most of the movie.
He's gone. Like he's kind of just lurking in the background. Like we don't even like cut to him like getting places or coming up with anything. Like there's no like, let's go check in with Gabriel. Like he shows up and massive spoiler alert here. Why are you watching this? You didn't watch the movie. But like after he kills Luther, like
which by the way, very emotional. I love Luther as a character. I love Ving Rhames, but he's like never mess with Phineas Freak, and you're like
oh,
man, the movies.
Luther!
I know that is a huge bummer.
I hope we were talking about how we hope that Ving Rhames isn't sick in real life and just like needed to bow out. But
yeah, we'll see what happens. They needed look if it's the final one, they needed to do something. And maybe he was just like, look, on the off chance you come back, I don't want to do it anymore.
Yeah,
I'm out.
Which makes sense. So I thought that's what was going to happen with Simon Pegg, and then it
exactly
didn't.
Yeah. So
basically after he kills Luther, he just disappears until they're all like ready to go to South Africa at the end.
Yeah.
And you're like, where is he the rest of this movie?
And he's not important. The movie's about the movie's a fetch quest movie where they're trying to get stuff, trying to get arbitrary MacGuffins to solve a problem. And that's fine. That's what Mission is.
And then it like ties back to the third Mission Impossible, which I haven't thought about in a long time. I actually really do enjoy the third Mission Impossible like quite a bit.
I started it the other night and was just so exhausted I just went to bed.
Yeah.
It is good. I do think Mission 3 is pretty cool.
I think it's funny because it's also kind of one of the last times we see Ethan like be a human being.
Yeah.
He like does it. He's like not a person from Ghost Protocol on.
Yeah, but that is also the one where it like it creates this like pathological thing for Ethan where he can't let anybody die, right? Like that becomes the Ethan Hunt characterization, which rocks. I love it. Again, Tom Cruise is the best at this like man possessed kind of thing. That's his best skill set as an actor.
Agree.
And it's a great skill set to have because
they need to that he's not doing mission movies. Can we get him back in some freak director's like
he's
set?
He's in Inarritu's next movie.
Oh,
that's his
right.
next project. Can't wait for that. But anyway, so yeah, the villain in this is fine. Philip Seymour Hoffman is the best villain in this entire series, to the point that they cut to him like 4 times in this movie.
PSH, we miss you, bud.
I miss Philip Seymour Hoffman so much.
So much.
But so we do that, and then MacGuffin, Benji gets shot. All this kind of stuff goes on. Mission Impossible gobbledygook, making the mission as hard as it can possibly be, happens all over the place.
And it still works every time.
And it still works on me every time.
It still works because I'll still be like, oh no, the plan's going awry. I don't know why I ever believe the plan is going to be working in these movies.
That is the funny part, because
every time I'm like, for sure it's going to work.
You're not the biggest heist movie person, yeah? Like,
I have not seen a lot of heist movies.
That's the heist movies. They show you the heist working because you know it's not going to work.
Which
heist movies, some of our best movies. Let's bring those back.
You're gonna have
to.
I'm on a mild quest to make Steven Soderbergh my most watched director this year, so we'll have to watch all the Oceans movies.
I'm so down for that. I love Oceans.
Never seen any.
I specifically love Oceans 11 and 13. 12 is not my bag, but that's fine.
You could just ask me to watch any George Clooney movie, and I'd be like, oh no, twist my arm.
That's very true. Anyway, so a bunch of stuff happens. We set up a prop plane. Let's talk about this sequence and how it is the craziest stunt I've ever seen in a movie.
I genuinely had moments where I was like, is Tom Cruise dead?
Yeah, look, here's the thing. I said it kind of when we walked out. I was like, I know Tom Cruise did not die doing this stunt. I know that. I've seen him in interviews. He's been doing press. He's been doing events. I know he didn't die. Every time that plane banked, I was like, Tom Cruise is going to fall off and die.
And I was like, I don't know how you survive this if you don't.
Well, you don't. I mean, he had no parachute. That's the magic of doing practical stunts, especially to the scale that Tom Cruise does them.
100%.
Is because, holy shit, this is real. Every time they cut to a shot of him on the side of the plane, you're like, well, the background's green screen. It's like some of the time, maybe.
You're like, his hair is plastered to his face. His cheeks are being filled with air. You can tell he's uncomfortable.
He does. Jacob said it best. Jacob went to the movie with us, a friend of ours. He said it best. He doesn't look good. His face is being blasted back. His hair is like smashed down on he doesn't look good. And that's the other thing that Tom Cruise does better. And he's not afraid to make his hero look hurt. He's not afraid to limp
100%.
around and get beat up and have to take a minute to get back. He's great. Kind of Harrison Fordy, Indiana Jones in that way.
Yeah, you have to. Your action movies thrive when there are stakes.
When you can see your hero bleed.
Stakes are never higher than your hero is like.
Yeah, that's kind of what made The Batman with Robert Pattinson really cool. Is like when he would get shot, he would get hurt.
And when he does the Batwing thing off the police, and then he bangs into the thing, and he's like. You literally hear him going,
and he hesitates before jumping off because he's never. Anyway, that's a different movie.
The Batman.
But that segment, I don't know how they did this.
Genuinely, it boggles the mind.
Like, I want to know how they did specifically the segment where he gets onto the next plane.
And I we knew they were going to have him go from plane to plane, and I was like, how are they going to do this? Yeah. And watching it, I'm like, how did you do this?
Like, literally, my heart started skipping beats routinely in this sequence.
Like, you, me, and your brother were all leaned forward. Like, it was the most locked in I think I've seen people during a movie in a long time.
Was crazy to witness him crawl around from the bottom, crawl up. There are segments in this where I legitimately don't know how he was strapped onto the thing. Look, I know he had to have been. I knew he had to have been strapped on. But how? Some of the movement and some of his ways, because if he fell off and he was strapped, he would be dead.
Yeah.
How would he have survived that? There's some times where he's moving so much up the plane where I was like, okay, the cable has to be long enough, unless it's like a retracting cable where it can't pull back out or something. Regardless, I cannot wait for the 4K of this to come out and get the featurette on that.
That crazy man.
And just the decision, like, look, the design decision where they're at, that canyon is beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
They're flying so low. Like, literally, I think at times where they said they're like 20 feet off the ground or something crazy like that. And the decision to make the planes red and yellow so they really stand out.
They stand at their old-timey planes, so they're more visually interesting.
Yes. It is such a fascinating, amazing sequence. It's one of the best dogfights that isn't an actual dogfight in cinema.
It's very classic Hollywood.
Yes. Oh, man. And it's gorgeous. Like, the visuals are gorgeous. Like, I didn't think there would be something that could top the helicopter. Yeah. Him flying his own helicopter, doing stunt flying in Fallout. I really didn't think that. And then there is. Like, look, I gave this movie a heart on Letterboxd because of basically when he gets onto the sub on. Like, that to me is when this movie becomes just a good Mission Impossible movie.
Agree.
I really wish they had done the artist formerly known as Dead Reckoning Part 1.
Yeah.
I wish they had done this as one movie.
And our Blu-ray still has it. So.
And our Blu-ray still has the Part 1 on it, on the title. I wish they had done this as one movie.
Interesting.
I would have sat through a 3.5 hour Mission Impossible movie.
Agree.
I think there's enough to trim in both of these movies. You could just do it. I think you could take out the Briggs character pretty much entirely.
Yeah.
Have them meet this other, because I like this other guy that defects with them. I like him a lot.
Degas.
Yeah, you could have just had him be the guy, and then he turned. And then what's the guy, the head of the IMF, the
Kittredge.
Kittredge walks out. That's enough. I don't need this other guy there who doesn't really matter. You fully remove him from the movie. You shorten up a couple of sequences. Like that train sequence is so long.
It's long.
In Dead Reckoning, it's like if you trim that up by like 15 minutes, you could, and then trim out most of the first hour of this movie. Yeah, you could have made this a 3.5 hour movie,
and we would have sat.
And I would have sat. Now, that's just my opinion on it. Like I don't know what else to say about some of the bad stuff in this movie, because it really hurts it. It's gonna hurt it a lot on a rewatch, to the point that I may just skip to the point where he gets turned in, or skip to the Luther scene on. You know what I mean? Like.
Because the Luther scene is legitimately tense. I will always love people having to rush to go make something in time.
Oh, yeah.
Like Ethan having to run. Great Ethan running in this movie. Great Ethan running.
Yes.
I think I giggled out loud a couple times at the running, because I was like,
there's some,
he's doing it.
Ethan running in Mission Impossible is a staple of this franchise, and it's amazing, and I love it.
What's your favorite Ethan running?
My favorite Ethan running is probably 3.
Agree.
That shot where he's running through the street.
City.
Yeah. It's 3 and 4 are really tied, because in 4 he runs into a sandstorm, and that's awesome.
I have a soft spot for Ghost Protocol.
There's no soft spot for Ghost Protocol. Ghost Protocol is just good.
That was my first Mission Impossible.
That was my first Mission Impossible in theaters. I had seen the others.
Oh yeah, we didn't even talk about our history with Mission Impossible.
I love them dearly. Yeah. They're great.
Mission Impossible or Ghost Protocol was also my first one, because my best friend's dad, I don't know why, I guess the moms were like, get out of the house, go do something during the summer. And my best friend's dad took me, her, and her older brother.
That would have been at Christmas. Ghost Protocol came out at Christmas.
Oh. Yeah. Well, yeah. Anyways, that's strange. They just feel like summer movies, I guess.
They do feel like summer movies. I say Christmas. It may have just, back then theatrical windows were longer. We may have just caught the tail end.
Remember?
But yeah, I remember on Christmas, my Christmas Eve, my family went to get Sherlock Holmes 2, A Game of Shadows, and Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol. We did that when I got lunch. And it was great. I loved it. Movies used to be awesome.
You used to be able to go to the movie, at the AMC.
You used to be able just to do double features routinely. It was great. Anyway, so yeah, is there any other thing we really want to cover? Like, again, I can't. We're talking about the biplane sequence, and it is more breathtaking than I can put into words, and more stunning to witness.
And if you're listening to this and you haven't seen it, again, you're crazy. But like, there is nothing that could have prepared me for that sequence at all. We knew that he's on 2 different planes in promo. We're like, oh my God, he's going to jump from plane to plane. Yeah. And I was still not prepared for how he did that.
Yes.
It boggles the mind. Like, I think genuinely it's going to go down as one of the craziest stunts
of all time. One of the great
with
sequences
the guy
in a movie.
Getting set on fire in the original thing, and all that. And who's the guy? Charlie.
We do a lot of research on this podcast.
I tried to. The dictator, the old timey. I mean, he's in the movie The Dictator, making fun of Hitler. The old timey.
Charlie Chaplin.
Yes,
sorry.
Thank you.
My brain broke. Yeah, Charlie Chaplin.
Yeah, Charlie Chaplin. I think
Tom Cruise will go down as one of the great stuntman actors, along with Charlie Chaplin, Buster Keaton.
Agree.
Keanu Reeves, I think, will go down. And Keanu Reeves says he does his own fights. He doesn't do his own stunts.
Yeah.
Which I fully respect.
But he unjammed the gun on his own, right?
Yeah. All of 4, they didn't cut when the gun jammed. Keanu got so good at it, he could just do it.
I would trust Keanu with my life.
Keanu is to what fist fighting in movies is what Tom Cruise is to stunts. I
agree.
Especially for American movies. I mean, obviously there's Jackie Chan, there's Donnie Yen, there's a lot of great these Hong Kong action stars that are the best martial artists in
movies.
Which
is another gap in my action movie knowledge, is a lot of overseas.
Yeah, well, we need to show you The Raid. We need to show you RRR. Yeah, Bollywood cinema has crazy stuff. But But yeah, anything else on Final Reckoning other than we'll talk about some boxes, but maybe that'll just be our B segment on the movies.
The movies
and decisions made about that.
Just that I'm gonna miss seeing Mission Impossible movies.
I'm gonna miss seeing Mission Impossible movies.
This had a lot of kind of the great just tropes of Mission Impossible movies of like beautiful woman with an accent who kills people and like
Paris, Palm Clementif,
love
who I
her.
love and just want to see her in more movies. And frankly, if I want to see her in more action movies,
I think she would be really
she
great
kicks
in
ass. She's awesome.
her own franchise of something cool and interesting and fun and.
She would be a great addition to the John. Like she would do wonders in a John Wick solo like spinoff thing.
But I don't know. I don't think I have any other. Do you got any other thoughts?
No. Like look, I want to do lessons really quick, and again, I try not to make my lessons negative. This one is don't give in to ego. Don't give into the franchise want of showing all this stuff. It's like do that in the end credits. Do an end credits thing, a goodbye. So many of these franchises have done it. Do that. I'm all about that. That actually is pretty an emotional choice.
Those get you when you're sitting there.
Yeah, like the Endgame one where they show all the actors. It's like it's a great little send off for a lot of these people who will or will not be coming back for these movies. Doomsday. God, don't even get me started. Yeah, so I'm gonna miss Mission. I think there's a world he comes back in like 5 to 10 years and does another one.
I mean, and I would trust him one more time.
And I would trust him one more time. Like this movie really is set up as the last one. But again, if you go see it, don't just write off the whole movie based on the first hour. Maybe that's my lesson. It really is a movie watcher. Is like let the movie win you back. You know what I mean? Like if there's I don't think this is a great movie. It's a movie I do like. It's a movie that but that's because I love Mission. I love Mission Impossible. So I'm a little biased on that. But the real lesson is just like, hey, just narrative economy. Like you don't just because it's the last movie in franchise means you have to make it 3 hours.
You don't have to do the Avengers Endgame impulse of
it's
especially if it's not that kind of franchise.
It's just a little unnecessary.
Know your franchise.
Know your franchise, and this was not the move for that. But the last hour, or last I guess like really 2 hours of this movie are breathtakingly good.
That's my lesson. Know your franchise.
Know your franchise. Okay,
know your audience.
So B segment, we'll do a quick run off of our favorite Mission movies. What is your favorite Mission Impossible movie?
It's probably, I want to say Rogue Nation.
Rogue Nation, word, great one.
I wanted Ilsa to come back in this so bad.
I did
it wasn't
too.
Even funny.
She.
I would have hand waved any explanation at all. I would have been like Ilsa.
That's the thing is like I love Haley Atwell. We did not talk about Haley Atwell at all during the recording of this podcast.
One of them is in Dune and one of them isn't.
Precisely. Fallout is probably my favorite. That movie is a spectacularly good. But yeah, I love 4, 5, 6 is just a legendary run on a franchise.
It's a game-changing run of action movies.
For like the 6th one to probably be the best in your franchise doesn't happen often, and it happened here.
Except for Final Destination.
Well, and Mission Impossible. Or I'm not sorry, Mission Impossible. We're talking about that. Fast and Furious. Fast 5 is the best Fast and Furious.
Oh, that's
movie.
true.
By far, Fast 5 is by far the best.
You have to love it. Sometimes you just need time to get going.
Sometimes you just need a guy to come in and go, you know what, we're really doing it this time, and then have a studio that just lets you. Okay, so favorite Ethan hair. Do you like it long? Do you like it short?
I actually really liked his hair long in this movie. And Haley, I was like, I like the long hair.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's me.
Yeah, I love that Ethan just gets different haircuts all the time. I really like because he has a similar. Barber? He has great hair in 4 and in this one. They're pretty much the same haircut. But if you're gonna go like it's those two are probably my favorite, and then I really do like his hair in Dead Reckoning. The short classic Ethan looks really good. We already talked about favorite Tom Cruise. Favorite set piece excluding the biplane of the whole franchise. Doesn't have to be like the craziest or the best, but what's your favorite set piece? The one that you're like, that was so cool.
Again, my Ghost Protocol bias, him climbing the Burj Khalifa.
Yeah,
that's tallest building in the world at the time. I don't know if it still is.
It's that one or it's the helicopter sequence for me. Those are the two that I'm just like, holy
because
God.
He was there.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That's how I feel about it. I'm like, he was there.
Yeah, the fact that he's like, the stunt guys were like, we're not going to let you do the Burj Khalifa sequence. And he's like, so I got new stunt guys. And Matt Damon is a really funny way to tell that story. You should look that up.
It's so funny.
Anyway.
Brad Bird directed Joint.
Brad Bird directed Joint, where first Chris McQuarrie worked on too. Chris McQuarrie came in
I didn't realize he worked on that one.
He ghostwrited a lot of the stuff during production. All right, so the real B segment here is this is a box office discussion, a very short one. This movie this movie is a $400 million budget. And so for people who don't know, generally to make your budget back, the rule of thumb is budget times 2. It's really budget times 2.5, budget times 2.3, depending on what your marketing campaign was.
Yeah.
And depending on the deals you make with distributors. The issue with this movie is no Mission movie has ever grossed $800 million, which is what this movie needs to break even.
Yeah.
Look, it's doing really well. We're going into what will probably be the biggest box office Memorial Day weekend as of recording this ever. And Mission has already made like $100 million.
Really?
Yeah.
Ever?
Lilo and Stitch is doing really well also,
okay.
which is a bummer. I'm really ready for these live action remakes to stop happening.
It sounds like after this one, they're just going to be like, oh, okay. People like don't.
I hope. Well, the thing is, yeah, people, well, it's just making so much money. It's hard. They won't.
Because
which is why we're not going to go
almost
see
like
it.
they don't release movies for kids anymore outside of these live action releases, and then parents are forced to go take their kids to this.
It's true.
Anyways.
Yeah, but so I find the decision to make this budget that big pretty baffling.
Especially after the last one had a lot of publicity about the inflated budget, but that's also a different case because they were still paying everyone's salaries through COVID, which is incredibly wonderful.
Yeah,
and they should have
all
done
about that. Yeah.
But it inflates the budget, and everyone's like, why did this movie cost $325 million? I think that was the budget. So the fact that this cost $75 million more than the movie that was so expensive because of
tough.
And the issue is that you see the money on the screen.
Oh yeah, here's the thing. Like I hate doing the budget conversation. It's like the Sinners discourse around that was like
so stupid,
so dumb because that movie's just hard stop incredible in every conceivable way. Every time I watch it for the rest of my life, I will get new things from it. Sinners is a genuine like masterpiece. But that movie has a $90 million budget.
Yeah.
Like even if that movie didn't do well at the box office, which it's fucking killing.
It's doing amazing.
It's doing amazing at the box office. It's still selling really well. Like I had a friend try to go see it the other day, and they just couldn't get a seat. And that was on like a weeknight. That was like a
it's beautiful.
Thursday night, and other stuff was coming out. Like literally the Thursday night that Mission came out and Lilo and Stitch, Sinners was still selling full houses. Amazing. I love that. The discourse around that is very different to me than the discourse around a movie that's a franchise movie that has a budget of this size.
Yeah.
I don't like boiling down art to that thing, to money. The issue is we're in a really rough box office year.
We're in a pretty tough box office
The top
year.
10 movies.
We just started getting good movies.
Yeah, the top 10 box office movies. The first one's like $1 billion. It's a movie out of China. It's a sequel, and it just randomly made.
Yeah, Ne Zha 2.
Ne Zha 2, thank you. And the second movie is what is the second movie?
Was it Captain America?
I think it's Captain America. No, it doesn't matter. Whatever the second movie is a radical drop.
It's pretty radical.
And then
it's Minecraft movie.
Minecraft movie, yes, with like 900. I guess that's not too radical, but that's like $400 million off of.
Ne Zha 2 is almost at $2 billion, and Minecraft movie is just shy of $1 billion.
I don't think that's true. I think it's at like $1.3 billion.
I believe you.
Anyway, I could be wrong about that. But the drop, and then you go from Minecraft to Captain America, which is $400 to $500 million less profit, then Thunderbolts, then Sinners, then a couple things, and Final Destination Bloodlines, which, by the way, is killing it. I'm super happy about that, and is a super great time, so please go watch that movie. That has made $150 million already in going into its second weekend, making it the 10th in the box office. It will likely end up at like 8, maybe.
I would say we still have Fantastic Four, Superman.
No,
and Jurassic
not by
World
the end of the year. I'm saying, but by the end of its run, it will probably peak up into there. By the end of the year, it will likely get knocked out by Superman, Jurassic Park, Fantastic Four, and Avatar 2 are going to be
Which
the
I
real.
keep forgetting is coming out this year.
I can't wait though. Real box office measures. So movies need to realize they need to do well. They
have to do well, and you have to start. We say this all the time. The mid-budget movie has to make a comeback. There's no maybe like it plain dead just has to.
Sinners is a big reason why I believe in that even more. We're like a movie like Sinners that's really specific and an adult, very adult, R-rated movie, incredibly well written.
And does not treat period piece about vampires.
Does not treat you like a baby. Treats you like you're an adult who has to like dissect this and work your way through it with the characters. Can make $350 million at the box office.
It's what did they say? It was the most a original R-rated horror movie has made
in the decade. Yeah,
in the decade period, and in a long time.
It's a really
or what was the thing? It was the most money an original non-IP movie has made since Avatar.
Yeah, in like 30 years or since Avatar. That's right.
Like
which
and
is
it
still
cost $90 million, and that was his
Avatar's
blank
nearly
check
20
movie.
years old.
And that was his blank check movie. Like
we're at a time where like that can happen. You just have to know how to market a movie, and you have to let really talented, cool people make them. Done.
And that's all it is.
Tom Cruise is very talented. Chris McQuarrie's very talented. I don't want to get into the Tom Cruise discourse. That's why we didn't talk about a lot of it.
We're not going to get into it.
Look, he's crazy. He's crazy. I love the movies he makes. He's kind of a lunatic. But he's doing a lot for movies. But so that's the thing is he made Top Gun Maverick. Essentially, like Steven Spielberg said, that saved movie theaters. And it did. It was like they described it as a deposit. They were like, look, we can still do this. We can still get people out to see movies. Mission did not do well. This mission will do great,
but
be a flop.
Yeah.
Be a financial flop. And that is a hard thing to stomach because it has to make $1 billion. It's like The Flash. The Flash needed to make like $1 billion to be profitable. And you're like,
The Flash is way less good than this
and The
movie.
Flash is bad and did so much worse than this movie's doing already. So it's a tough thing.
Almost like people want to see movies that are made well.
Yeah. And look, Mission's made well. You know what I mean? Like that's not what we're saying. It's The Flash is not made well.
Yeah, I was not saying
my
that.
point in saying this is, look, I know a lot of people have gotten really burnt out on the tentpole movies and stuff, but if one comes out, if you're not usually going to go, if one comes out and somebody tells you, somebody you even moderately a little bit trust their opinion, says it's good, go support it.
Yeah.
Go support that movie.
Period.
A movie doing well in theaters, in this current time will never be bad. Minecraft doing well in theaters is a little bad for certain reasons, but great because we needed a movie to kill it.
We needed a movie to make almost $1 billion.
Yes.
I have fears that we're not going to have a Barbenheimer again in terms of just the sheer amount of money injected at a crucial moment.
And these studios need to work together. I know we're fighting for good dates, but Fantastic Four, a Marvel production, Jurassic World Rebirth, which Universal, and then Superman, which is a DC Warner thing.
Superman.
The fact that those are coming out within the month of July, 2 of them week to week, like that is a tough thing to sell. Because what you need for like Superman or Jurassic Park or Fantastic Four to make money is you need people to come back twice. You need people to come back 3 times. You and I plan on seeing Superman like 500 times. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
But we just love Superman.
We'll be seeing that every night in IMAX as like a
as a little treat for us. It's just I don't know. I don't know what the solution is, but like if word of mouth is important, if you hear a movie's good, please go see it. Give it a chance. Like,
and they need to start banking on that kind of thing.
Yeah, like
because Sinners had an incredibly small drop for their weekend number 2. Like, and that's because
like literally like 8% or something.
And that's because people left Sinners that first weekend and were like, guys, you need to go see Sinners.
Yeah, this movie rules. And you and I have seen it twice, and both times we saw it, it was in a pretty full theater. Like
on a Tuesday night, we saw it, and it was packed.
Yeah, and like look, $5 Tuesdays, like admittedly, but we're like AMC. I know is dropping their prices. Like they're doing like 50% on prices on Mondays is a thing they're going to start doing. I thought it was
Wednesdays.
Wednesdays, thank you. Yeah, the midweek because they're trying to get people in.
Yeah.
And that's a great idea. That's a legitimately great idea. Get people into the theater. The theaters need to find a way to be able to take a little bit of a hit to recreate the culture of going to the movies.
People want to go to the movies. They just don't.
They can't afford it.
They can't afford it. They can't afford it, and they're not seeing things that they want to see.
I know that I sound crazy where I'm like, hook them first and then raise the prices. But like what I'm saying is you need to create a cultural movement around going to the movies. That's what Barbenheimer did so well. That's what Wicked did so well and Gladiator did so well.
Yes. People want to have an event to go to, and they want it to be something that feels worth their time not just another XYZ, like, and we love superhero movies. This isn't me saying that, but we don't have Marvel movies coming out that people feel the need to have the kind of Endgame, Infinity War
Thunderbolts
hype around.
Thunderbolts is really good, and it's
and our theater was like
empty
not full.
Opening night, admittedly a late showing, but like that movie's only made $300 million. It's like even bad Marvel movies back in the day did 7 or 8.
Like it's just people aren't
like
interested in going to the movie theater anymore for a very varied, multiple, all pretty decently good reasons.
No, not good reasons. There's no good reason not.
There's
to
not
go.
I mean, like financially, like obviously, like
Yes, financial is literally the only reason.
If
you
a
can't afford to
family
go
of
to the
four
movies,
wants to go
yeah.
out to the movie theater, they're spending $100 to $150.
Yeah. It's
And that's
unbelievably
not,
expensive.
and you can't ask
You and
people
I go to
do that.
movies in the morning lately, and it costs us $30.
Yeah, like we usually end up waiting to see movies on Tuesdays
Because
like,
around here they do discounted Tuesdays. Movie theaters just have to evolve, and they have to recreate that culture. Like, look, I think we have a good shot at Superman being a really good
I
cultural
agree.
moment. I think we have a really good shot at Fantastic Four being a big cultural moment.
Agree.
And I think we have a really good shot at Avatar 3 being a huge cultural
Because
moment.
Way of Water did gangbusters.
Way of Water did amazing and was well received. Like, that's the thing, is it not only was just a crazy box office smash, it was critically and audience acclaimed.
Oscar nominated film Avatar: The Way of Water, because The Way of Water
Rules.
connects all things.
Connects all things. Sorry. I knew that. Anyway, that's just the B segment. Go see go to movies, support
Go to
movies.
the movies,
Like,
but yeah.
Listen to word of mouth, I think maybe is the biggest one. Like,
In summation, if they just lowered the price of every concession $1, and
if you lowered the price of tickets $2 and the concession by $1.50, people would flock to the theaters within months.
People would be there.
I'm legitimately convinced of that. If you could just make it a little bit more affordable, and that's going to come down to the studios being willing to take a tiny bit less cut for a couple of years.
Yeah.
And then you can renegotiate these deals. But you have to get people wanting to go to the movies again. Anyway, that's that. Let's move on to some recommendations. Do you have anything to recommend?
I recently watched Chernobyl.
Chernobyl, good show.
I have beef with Craig Mazin. We won't get
Huge
into it.
Huge beef with Craig Mazin.
Whatever. But Chernobyl was great. What else have I been up to? I don't know. What did we watch recently?
We really liked This Is Why I Have Letterboxd.
This is why we have Letterboxd.
I don't know. I don't know.
Just
Vamping.
Final Destination Bloodlines.
Oh, thank you. That is one of mine.
Which is the 7th movie in this franchise, and it's like one of the best ones.
Yep.
If
it is
not the best.
Legitimately super fun.
So many great kills. Tony Todd gives a very touching final performance. R.I.P. to the GOAT.
Yeah. Oh, legitimately, that was a genuinely beautiful final performance.
And the fact
great.
that was like, they were like, just say what you feel to the fans.
Yeah.
Like Tony.
Great.
Like Tony. Great. And that also does callbacks to previous movies in a good way and not a bad way.
Yeah.
It does. It has, an homage kill at the end that I that's all I'll say about that. But, it has callbacks to previous things.
Final Destination sneaky pick for the most consistent horror franchise ever.
100%.
There's like one of them that I understand if you don't like it all, but the rest of them
you can
are
hate
super
the
fun.
Final Destination if you want, but if you're hating on
But
any
5
of the
is
other ones,
good. 5's good.
5's good.
The low rating on that one's crazy. Anyway, can I continue?
But yeah, I really enjoyed Final Destination Bloodlines.
Nice.
That's Bestie Pie. I love those slapstick Looney Tunes ass horror movies.
Yeah.
They're just so fun.
Fantastic.
Yeah. I'm a firm belief that you're either a Final Destination person or a Saw person.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
And
this
we're
is
Final Destination.
Yeah, and we're Final Destination people.
I like the Final Destination franchise a lot more than the Saw franchise.
You basically get one like splatter franchise and it picks you. So.
It chooses you.
Isn't that beautiful?
My recommendation, Final Destination Bloodlines, super recommend that. I recommend going for walks. I've been going for more.
True.
I've been going for more walks and I feel better. They listen to your therapist when they tell you to get some exercise.
Yeah,
and,
your therapist is right when they say that exercise makes you feel better.
yeah.
Sorry,
so
Renee,
I've been starting my days with like really long, like workout walks, not just like leisurely walking around. Like I'm going at a quick pace. I'm making me feel a lot better. So I watched a documentary while you were watching Chernobyl. I was watching a documentary on Mike Mignola, the creator of Hellboy.
That's our exact dynamic, by the way.
It is our
Spencer
exact
watching
dynamic.
a documentary about a very famous comic book writer, and
Yeah.
then I'm in the other room watching a devastating thing about nuclear fallout.
Yeah, which I've also seen Chernobyl and is quite good. But the Mike Mignola documentary is really good. I have wanted to delve into Hellboy the comics for a very long time. There's some really great editions of whenever they go on sale. I will pick up one or two of them, but that documentary was just great because I liked a guy who was uncompromising, who had a really rough way in and just found the thing that he found that made him into the industry was being his own industry for a little while, was just writing and drawing and getting paid in the industry as he could. But the thing that made him launch into being one of the great comic book writers an artist, I mean, he's the artist who drew Hellboy and stuff, is making your own work. And that's my firm belief, is that at this point, if you want to break into the film and entertainment industry, you have to be your own industry. It's the only way to do it.
You've always said that.
So I'm also going to recommend the 2 Del Toro. They talk about these quite a bit, but the 2 Del Toro, I brought Blu-rays because this is show and tell time.
You brought them? They're from over there.
I know, but still, is really pretty cool. It took me a long time to like let this one click for me. Hellboy 2: The Golden Army rules so hard. Mike Mignola and him had kind of a falling out when this was being made because they're fine, I think. Del Toro speaks very fondly of him in the documentary. This is a cool lenticular cover. I'm not really sure you can see. Yeah, Totoro-san. That's what the little girl from Pacific Rim called him because she couldn't say Guillermo del Toro. It's fantastic. These movies are really fantastic. Some of the best production design you will see in superhero movies, and Ron Perlman is just born to play Hellboy. The craft and the emotion in the story in these are legitimately really good. Check out the Hellboy movies. And then check out that documentary because it's legitimately fantastic. I really
check
really
out documentaries. Period.
Yeah, check out documentaries and read a book.
Read a book. Like learn something. Watch a YouTube video about the history of something. Get in there. Start learning. That's the only way your brain stays sharp is if you're constantly trying to do a puzzle or learn something.
Yep. So anyway, I think that's everything we covered. Any other last one? Anyway, this podcast will not self-destruct in 5 seconds, so don't worry about that. It's a podcast. I don't even know how we would do that. But you have a bunch of stuff to watch. You have a mission movie to go see. Go to theaters. Read a book. Go for a walk. Watch Chernobyl. Watch Final Destination: Bloodlines. Hellboy. All the stuff. So you should go do that, or don't. I don't know. Live your life.